Welcome to Verbs. You will be working on this chapter, which is chapter 7 of your book, on Thursday, Friday, and Monday. We will review it on Tuesday with an exam on Wednesday. We will be talking about two separate ideas with verbs. The first one are the principal parts, and the second part will be the verb tense. You will need your grammar book and turn to page 216. You'll work on scrap paper or Notability at first. Later, you will be submitting papers to Wheeler homework. Please do the diagnostic preview on page 216 and stop this presentation while you're doing that. The answers will be given on the next slide. See how well you did. The principal parts of verbs. There are four principal parts of verbs: the base form, the present participle, the past, and the past participle. The base form sometimes has a to before it, and if so, it's called the infinitive form. Present participle is always ing, and it always has some form of the to be verb with it. The past form, if it's a regular verb, has ed. If it's an irregular form, it could be anything. It does not have a helping verb. The past participle has to have some form of the helping verb to have. If it is a regular verb, the past participle will be the same as the past. However, we will be working with irregular verbs. So the word ran, run, will not always follow that same pattern. Remember, these are the parts of a verb. Later, we will be using these four parts to make verb tenses. Now, you need to have a partner for the rest of this work. You will be submitting your work to Wheeler homework when instructed. Your partner must sign the bottom of your work as the grader, otherwise you will not receive credit. Go to page 220, exercise 1. Do 1 through 10, and then have your partner check your work. The answers are on the next slide. Here are the answers to exercise 1. These are all regular verbs and should have been very easy. Now look at slide 4. This form is also in your verb folder in Schoology. Go to Schoology and put this form in Notability so that you can work with it. Stop the presentation until you have done this. You will now need to work with a partner because you and your partner will be exchanging papers to grade for the next several worksheets. We are working with this worksheet on regular verbs. So the infinitive, or base, is to talk, to pull, and to paint. The present form, and I would suggest you use he. He talks. If it's third person singular, it will always end in an S. He is talking. He talked. And he has talked. He pulls the wagon. He is pulling the wagon. He pulled the wagon, and he has pulled the wagon. Let's change to they for paint. They paint the building. They are painting the building. They painted the building. And they have painted the building. Now go to page 220, exercise 1. Please do 1 through 10, and you will be submitting this, so put it on a clean sheet on Schoology. Now go to page 220, exercise 1. You will do this in Notability, and you will be turning this in. Your partner will be grading it. Answer 1 through 10, and the next slide will give you the answers. Now, return to this form. You should have it open in Notability. With your partner, and without looking in your book, see if you can, see if you can give the proper parts of verbs. The first one is to eat. The second one is to fly, grow, know, read, ring, swim, teach, throw. Stop the presentation and then check your answers. Here are the answers. These are all irregular verbs. I used he as the pronoun for the present form, so it would have the S. He eats his meal. He flies the plane. He grows the plants in the greenhouse. If it were they, it would be they eat, they fly. Notice there is no S on any other pronoun except for first person singular. Present participle will always have ing and be with an to be verb. He is eating, he was eating, they are eating. The past participle has to have some form of the to have verb. He has eaten, he has flown, he has grown. On page 221, 222, and 223 are lists of irregular verbs. However, you can also find the verb form by going to dictionary.com. This is an example of an entrance in the dictionary for the word swim. If you note, it says verb used without an object. So the forms are past, past participle, and then present participle. So he swam to the raft, he has swum to the raft, he is swimming to the raft. I know you did not think there was any such word as swum, but there is. If in doubt, go to the dictionary, and it should be in this format: past, past participle, and then present participle. Now, go to exercise 2, do this in Notability, have your partner check the answers. The answers are on the next screen. Make sure your name is at the bottom as the grader, and submit to N. Wheeler Homework. Do exercise 4 on page 225. The next screen will have the answers. Have your partner check your answers and sign the name at the bottom as the grader and submit to N. Wheeler Homework. Here are the answers to exercise 4 on page 225. After you have completed exercise 4, go back to your folder. You have irregular verb sheet 228 and 229. Please do both worksheets. Have your partner grade. The answers will be on the next slide, and submit to N. Wheeler Homework. This is the answer sheet to worksheet 228. This is the answer sheet to worksheet 229. This is table 1 of irregular verbs. I strongly urge you to memorize this list because you will be having an exam over this table, period. The next slide is an example of the quiz that you will be given next week, period. Please do the Table 1 practice quiz. Have your partner check your answers and turn it in to N. Wheeler Homework. The practice quiz is on the next slide. Please do this in Notability. The first one would be first person singular, which is I, and to be is am. I am. The answers for this are on the next sheet. Please have your partner grade your practice quiz and submit to N. Wheeler Homework.